Greetings. Let us learn about plastic biliary stent, 7 French stent. So here are two types of stents as we have learned before: straight plastic stents, double pigtail plastic stents. And depending upon the caliber of the stent, it could be either a 10 French stent or a 7 French stent. We know that 3 French is about a millimeter, but the wires that go in are in inches. So let us figure out the size of these stents in inches. A 10 French stent is about 0.13 inches and 7 French is 0.09 inches. So you can see that the guide wire 0.035 is pretty good for these two types of stents. So 0.035, 0.035. A 7 French stent goes over a 0.035 inch wire, and that is pushed with a pusher catheter over the 0.035 inch guide wire. A 10 French stent, there is too much of space between the guide wire and the stent. Hence, we use a guide catheter over the wire, and over the guide catheter, we push the stent with a pusher catheter. And it's important to learn this principle. And let us figure out how do we place a stent. Here is a normal bile duct, and once the bile duct develops a stricture, there is dilation. And how do you place a stent through the stricture into the bile duct? The first step is obviously placing a scope, then cannulation and passing the guide wire, making a sphincterotomy if need be, and over the wire we place the stent all the way through the stricture and above the stricture into one of the intrahepatic ducts. If the stricture is too tight, we may decide to dilate the stricture with a balloon. So here we are placing a 7 French stent into the right intrahepatic duct. The pusher catheter, as you can see, is pushing the stent in the duodenum and is held close to the stent. Once you want to deploy the stent, what you do is you pull the guide wire out, and once the guide wire out, the stent can get disconnected from the pusher catheter, and then you remove the pusher catheter to deploy the stent. And these are the steps for placing a 7 French plastic biliary stent through a stricture. The same principle is used for placing a 7 or a 5 French stent through the pancreatic duct stricture, and let us look at that. So we place a guide wire into the pancreatic duct, and next using a pusher catheter, we push the stent over the wire into the pancreatic duct, and then we pull the wire out, leaving the pusher catheter at the tip of the stent to keep it there, and then finally release the stent. And the pigtail curls, and the pigtail prevents the stent from migrating inside. So let us see these steps again. Here is a bile duct. We placed a guide wire into the bile duct, and using a pusher catheter, we push a stent over the guide wire into the bile duct. And once the stent is placed where we want, then we take the guide wire out and leave the stent. And if you understand these principles, it is very easy to place a 7 French stent over the guide wire with the help of a pusher catheter. Thank you.